All right, I am apparently live now. If you are watching this as a recorded video later, you can skip ahead to the seven. You can skip ahead to about the 2 minute mark because I logged in a little bit early just to verify that I could do both this and Facebook Live at the same time. All right, let's try Facebook Live. All right, it looks like I am actually live on both simultaneously. Uh, cool. Like I said, on YouTube, you can skip ahead to the 2 minute mark. On Facebook, where I guess we'll be good to go in another minute or so. Um, Let me pull up my notes. Just some notes on topics. Not sure if you can hear the background noise, but that is my son and my wife. They're playing while we do this, so hopefully they will be not picked up by the microphone. Um, I know sometimes when I record my podcast or my friend's podcast with him, he can hear my son, but usually it doesn't come through in the audio recording. So we'll see. All right, it is officially 7 o'clock. So I will go ahead and get started. So sorry, I'm pulling up a list of topics that I have because I have both my screens used for streaming. In case something pops up message wise, if somebody's watching, I want to be able to chat with you. But I did write down some topics. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is my Indiegogo campaign, or our Indiegogo campaign at Chocolate Diamond Media. Um, as you probably know, if you've seen much of this channel, did we did an indie. Oh, hi Paul, how's it going? We did an Indiegogo campaign to raise funds for our film. We were lucky and we were able to raise $300. We also were able to get equipment um, outside of that. Like I got a gimbal, which, in case you're unfamiliar, this is I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a Jihun gimbal. It gets real smooth shots, and we'll be using that in the movie quite a bit. We will actually be using that in um, our next film uh, that's coming out Sunday, I think. Thanks. Um, can you hear me well, Paul? Just want to verify that the audio is good. Um, so yeah, so that we raised $300. Great. We raised $300, and our goal was 2,500. We all with all the equipment and everything else that we've received, it was probably about 2,500. But we were hoping to raise 2,500 from the Indiegogo because that will be paying for the venue that we're shooting at. But $300 gets us at least one day of shooting. So I'm not exactly sure whether we'll um, try to raise money otherwise or how we're going to take care of that. Maybe we'll shoot one day, make a better trailer, and show you all what's coming. And hopefully, at that point, we'll have some more audience participation. We'll see. I'm actually really happy with what we did. I know we didn't hit the exact goal, but we did really well, especially considering the equipment that we received. All right. So, other than the Indiegogo, we also, I did talk about the equipment. So as you can see, it's probably nighttime where you are. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in North Carolina. One of the nice equipment pieces that we got is this lighting kit. You're on my computer, not on a camera. I can easily move. What have you got? that one I didn't have the shade on, but we've got a nice lighting kit set up, which will be really helpful when we get to um, the point where we're shooting. So the lighting kit we got in the beginning of the summer, we got a new camera, and so we've been really building up our. Hi, Kevin. We've been really building up our equipment, stock, and which will be really helpful in making a feature. We've been trying to make our videos better quality, which I think is should be mostly clear based on what we're putting out on YouTube. It's been a pretty good process. We were making a lot of shorts the last month or two. That was mostly because of time sensitivity of the subject matter. Now we're going to go back to once a month or maybe twice a month if we have an idea that sticks out. And personally, I would love to be at the point where I'm making one a week or one every 2 weeks regularly, but with a full-time job and a 2-year-old. And I was actually until very recently working. Well, technically I'm still working, but working a second job. It is tough to pull off a short film every week. So that's why we do have like the moment of inspiration, stuff that's like kind of related, but is a little easier for me to get made every month. It's just so we can keep coming with content for you. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is I was going to make a short film about this, and then I kind of was like, I don't know. I did get some comments when I posted some videos on Reddit about the beard. Mostly the comments have been positive, but the beard has gotten a little. It's not quite out of control, but I've been getting notice of the beard because if you watch the videos from way back in February when we began, I had like a very short goatee. And we've watched this, beard grow. I wasn't even aware I could grow a beard this thick on the side because I've never done it before. This is for the movie. So I don't want to give too much away, but we're going to be shooting the movie in segments. Because I've told you that, it's about my personal experience with depression. It's about strong, virile man full of testosterone. Yeah. It's the movie's about my battle with depression, and I'm going to be doing it in the style that I made those first few shorts. This month's short is going to be similar, although not particularly comedic. It's that monologue over other video, but I'm gonna be addressing the camera quite a bit in it. So we're gonna shoot that in 3 segments. My plan was a day of shooting over the course of about 3 months, and for the first segment, I'm gonna have a beard because I'm at this point. So I don't want to give too much away, like I said, but there's gonna be a bit of the metaphor is. Yeah, I'm going to be dressed with, I don't know if I'll wear a turtleneck. I hate turtlenecks. But I'll be dressed a little more heavily to cover myself, more guarded visually. And the having this beard covers so much of my face and facial expressions. And so that will be part of it. And then when we go to shoot day 2, the beard's coming off. It'll probably be that like short goatee. Hi, Carlo. It'll probably be that short goatee, and at that point, I will of the film, and then for that third section, the goatee's coming off all the way, and it'll be barefaced, and as that goes on, the clothing choices will also it'll be go from fully clothed. Well, I'll be fully clothed the whole thing, but it'll be more wintry to more like covered but not fully like guarded, to more like a shorts and a t-shirt kind of thing at the end. So it's the visual metaphor I'm trying to create. in that process, I'm also hoping to lose weight. So I've been, I want to be, I mean, I'm not at my all-time heaviest, but I'm pretty damn close. And the what was the no for, Paul? The losing weight or the shaving the beard? So basically, I'm gonna, I'm at my pretty close to my all-time heaviest. I've been, changing my diet and beginning to exercise. My hope is that as I do these other things and as we shoot in order, a month in between. Hi, Brant, or the Brant. I don't. Oh no, the clothes are staying on, Paul. Don't worry. But as we progress through, I'm hoping to make the visual thing complete, between losing some weight so that like it's just making me look not just younger but a little more, a little less, encumbered by my own look and body and clothing and beard. Um, Something that I noticed in my, I want to say it was the Swing King video, which hopefully you've all checked out. But something I noticed in the Swing King video was that I've always been told that I've had really bad posture, and I've never been aware of it as badly as I was on the day that we shot the Swing King. And so I've been trying to correct that slowly. But I also think that will be another good thing visually, because that the I guess they say a lot of people over 6 feet tall, and I'm about 6 feet tall, have this problem where we especially we've been told that we were, if we've been tried, if people, peers and stuff have kind of like treated us like big monsters. Basically, we try to make ourselves smaller and we have bad posture. So I'm trying to correct all these things. And part of the reason why I'm doing that is I want the transformation from the beginning of the film to the end of the film, where you're seeing me go from, I mean, the hair, I might let the hair grow a little longer, although I'm probably going to have the hair trimmed down because I just can't deal with it. But everything is going to get smaller. I'm sure I'll clean up my eyebrows. These are my natural eyebrows. They are not enhanced in any way. I will, pull back the beard. Like I said, lose some weight and change clothing and go from my natural state, which is this, to I've been, forcing myself to sit like this and to stand like this, to try to correct that. And I mean, these are all things that are going to help me in life in general, but it will really sell the visual presentation I'm trying to make with the film. I also have the process of having to memorize 3 segments of monologue that will equate to about a feature-length film. Thanks. The beard, I like the way the beard looks. And for all the Facebook viewers, the Brant just said that they're jealous of the beard. But the beard, I find it irritating. Like I love the way it looks, actually. Especially growing it during the summer was probably a poor decision making on my end, but honestly, it's itchy. I've gotten it caught in the seatbelt in the car like 10 times, and the seatbelt yanks it. Last night I was blowing up a balloon for my son, and when I went to like pinch the balloon, I caught part of my soul patch and ripped it out. It's not functionally fun for me. And this is pretty natural. I've been keeping it a little clean because I do have a job that I have to maintain, so I can't just let it go. Because if I let it go, it would be probably about another inch longer. And let's do a deep dive into my beard. My beard kind of grows all at this angle the whole way over, so it's like a wave. It's like it's a comb under almost, and if I let it grow, you'd see this end going down, and it would be super defined. It is the weirdest looking beard when I let it grow. So I've been trimming it because I just can't stand it. And if you can see, this side looks a little clean, like this is a nice. My mom was saying I look like Santa from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer the other day, except obviously not gray, but like that well-defined one. On this side, It is like a scraggly mess. And I brush it every morning trying to get it to go that way. It's just it is a crazy beard. So after we shoot day one of shooting and I have gotten all that I need to get out of that, we are done with the beard probably for life, unless I decide to make another movie in which I need the beard. I don't know if you guys can hear through the microphone, but my son's giggling downstairs. So yeah, the beard's coming off. Where was I? So, all right, that's actually all the things that I want to talk about the film. I did want to talk real quick about Chocolate Diamond Media in general. So we, if you've been watching, you're pretty familiar with. The Brant just said that I'm assuming his beard. I don't mean to assume gender. Sorry about that, but is unable to grow a beard. It looks like pubes or something. This part on both sides before I grew this for 2 months ago or 3 months ago, whenever I started, never came in more than like a little scraggly looking pube look. It was not good. I've always been able to grow the goatee part pretty strong, but this part never. I went to Catholic school, as Paul can attest, and we had to shave. But in middle school, when I was in Catholic school, I was sent home at 12 years old and had to shave. And my dad was kind of pissed off because he was like, he's not old enough to be shaving, because he knew that once I started, like, it was going to just get worse and I was going to have to do it regularly. And I think I was a pretty ridiculous little kid, and he didn't necessarily want me like using a razor. So the beard's part of the journey as far as the depression goes. It's the subject matter of the film. The beard definitely takes on a life in that, even if I'm not in the context. I won't be mentioning the beard, I'm sure, but I did have the Wolverine mutton chops for a while. It was pretty sweet. Actually, I think I had them for 20 minutes before my wife told me I had to shave them off. All right, so I want to talk about Chocolate Diamond Media in general. So I've been making a lot of these videos, and I on my blog posts and everything else, I've been saying we, and you've only really been seeing me and other random people, but I've talked about my partner, Adam. Adam, so as you might know, I moved down to North Carolina a year and a half ago. My partner, Adam, lives in Massachusetts, and Adam is a police officer, so we were planning originally a couple months ago to do these live streams where we would talk to each other mostly, but also, answer questions, but we would talk about what we wanted to do with the film, because we do end up talking pretty regularly about what we want to do with the film, with the channel. We have other stuff we want to do eventually once we start getting to a point where we have, if this becomes a something that we're making money, we would, we have ideas for books and comic books, and we want to expand because we have just a million ideas. And when we started the company in 2008, we wanted to just make stuff that we wanted to see or read or watch, and so we. But Adam, like I said, he's a cop, so he is working really random hours, and he is not always able to participate. He does he's definitely strong in the input department. He tells me what he wants to do, what he thinks we should be doing. Hi, Sarah. I think my wife and son just logged in on Facebook to watch. Did I just say the Facebook? To watch, because he knows I'm up here, and he probably wants to see me. So hi, buddy. So anyway, Adam and Adam is involved, but he's never been the one that's wanted to be on screen. Me being on screen is at least partially. I mean, I enjoy performing, but also part of this is pragmatic, because a lot of times it is I have an idea, I have the camera, and I have to go, shoot it. And luckily, my wife participates. I think my son would participate if he could, but he's 2 and he's a little too rambunctious, and I also don't necessarily want him on screen too much. And I have a couple of key people in my life who participate pretty often when they can, but so mostly that is my boss and my friend David. But like Paul, who's been chatting with us here on the side. Paul's been in one of the videos, but Paul also lives in Massachusetts. In fact, most of the people in my life, with the exception of my wife, son, father-in-law, and work associates, work friends, all live in Massachusetts. So it's really, or live not in North Carolina. So it's really tough. It's been really tough to get participation. And so that's why it's mostly me. Now we're starting to expand. We've seen a lot of so you've probably seen Matthew Cravat in the last couple of videos that I made. He's in the Pineapple Pizza. He's in Anthony's Apologies, which if you haven't seen Anthony's Apologies, please watch it. Please know that it's done in the crappy VHS look on purpose. I've gotten so many comments from people saying, put a little more time into making the video better. And I'm like, I did it on purpose. But, I think, unfortunately, I'm getting to the age where I'm referencing stuff that people don't get anymore. So, like, my wife's not that much younger than me, but she didn't get the GeoCities reference, So, like, there's just, like, a lot of little things that I'm starting to realize that I might be too old to be. I'm not. I was never cool, but I'm now past the age where I can even pass as cool. So Adam's going to be participating when he can. When we go up to Massachusetts, or when he comes down here, which is, at this point is not very often, we're going to shoot some stuff with him. I've wanted to do a channel trailer, but he's had difficulty on his end, but he's always participating and sending us Netscape Navigator. He's always telling me what he wants to do. He's also going to be, I'm sure his ideas are bigger. He'll go see, the new Avengers movie, whatever the new Marvel movie is, and he'll be the one saying, we need to make you need to get it. He'll tell me, you need to get a job making directing a Marvel movie. And I'll be like, I make YouTube videos for like $20 at most. It's going to be a little while before we're at the point where that's even an idea. But he's the dreamer in that way, which is funny because he's typically the voice of reason in every other aspect of our lives. But he that was the reason why he wanted to get into this. He's a big blockbuster kind of guy, and he wanted, when we started this company back 10 years ago, he wanted, his big things are Bond. He loves the MCU. He wants to make movies like that, and I like those movies a lot, and I would love to make those. I want to make a lot of different kinds of movies. I want to make really weird stuff and really interesting stuff, and ultimately we've been able to mesh it pretty well, especially because he doesn't have he has the big ideas for where he wants us to be, and what he wants us to be doing, but like along the way he's pretty supportive. So I think that is all I have to say about Adam. Does anybody, I feel like I'm teaching a class. I haven't, but does anybody have any questions, or anybody want to, I'd love to know what you guys would like to see. Oh, sorry, I missed the last couple comments. Yes, Paul, I'm taking you with me. If I get to direct a Marvel movie, I'm planning on, putting in my contract a rider that says that World's Best Media, which is Paul's website, gets a exclusive, some kind of exclusive. That is something I've been thinking about for the last year and a half since you started World's Best Media, Paul. Is that if I were to ever get into a Marvel movie or direct a Star Wars or any of those things that are definitely never going to happen, then I would. Paul is getting some kind of deal in my contract. To the Brant. I'm sorry. Can I just call you Brant? Is that okay? I don't want to I don't know. Or what should I call you? But anyway, to answer your question, do I like horror? I do like good horror. And I feel like that's a snobby answer. But let me explain. So I was, when I grew up, I wasn't really allowed to watch horror films. I wasn't even allowed to watch Jaws until I was 17. And so I didn't really get, there's a lot of things I wasn't allowed to watch that I didn't really get a full appreciation for. And then when I was in my 20s, I dated a girl for a couple years whose mother and stepfather loved horror, and we were living in Colorado, and they were the people we hung out with. And so we watched a lot of horror, and it was some good horror and some bad horror. I remember watching, I actually really liked the first 3 Final Destinations, the first 3 Saws. But since then, that's when I became aware that I actually enjoyed horror to some extent. Then I saw, I went and made a point of seeing the original Halloween, the 75 or 76 or whatever year that was version. And I went through a bit of a kick seeing, trying to go see the classics, and I haven't seen a lot of them yet. But I went through that. Then I saw Human Centipede, and my Human Centipede story is so Human Centipede, before everyone knew what it was playing at this theater called the Coolidge, which is in Coolidge Corner, which I think is in Brighton, Massachusetts, right outside of Allston, Brighton, right outside of Boston. And we went and saw, I mentioned that there was this movie called Human Centipede playing, and my friend was like, "What is that?" And so I read the description, and I was mostly trying to gross him out with the description. And he said, "Now that I have that visual image in my head, I need to see it, to see if it's as awful as if it's as awful as it sounds, and you need to come with me for putting the visual image in my head." So we went to a midnight showing, and this was really early on, before really, it's been on South Park and everything else now. This was well before that point, and I felt like I was going to be sick the whole movie. I was not into that movie. And it didn't turn me off of horror, but I haven't been diving back in since. I'm interested in seeing, I'd love to see, Paul's got some good comments on the side with Hereditary and The Conjuring. But I haven't seen, I'm trying to think what the last real, I know I watched, the Pet Cemetery. I feel like I saw that as a little kid when I wasn't allowed to. I don't remember. And I definitely think I saw Cujo as a little kid. I think one of my aunts showed me Cujo, because my aunt is she thinks when the animals look fake that it doesn't count as I don't, because she was showing it to me, I'm pretty sure. Or if it wasn't Cujo, it was a rip off of Cujo. Sorry, one second. And so I haven't seen much, but I like when I see a good one, I like it. I like the original Ring. I don't know if this would be considered horror, but if you guys ever seen the movie Teeth with I can't think of who's in it, but it's about a woman who has a condition known as vagina dentata. Teeth. Would you consider that horror, Paul? Anyway, it's not a bad movie. I thought it was kind of interesting. It's kind of like a horror comedy, I think. That was actually the first time Adam and I ever hung out was going to see Teeth, and that one was pretty weird. It's so in case vagina dentata means she had teeth in her vagina, and basically it's a series of like guys trying to sexually assault her in different degrees and removing and her teeth biting them, her vagina teeth biting them. Um, so I think the very first scene, she's like a little kid, and another little kid has like, my finger like is bleeding or whatever, which is I think she was like 4 in that scene. It's super messed up. And then the rest of it, I think she's supposed to be like 17 or 18, but the actress is older than me, and I was like 22 when the movie came out. And so as everything proceeds in the movie, she gets like either assaulted or raped, and every time the teeth bite off the fingers or other phalluses that end up in invading. I don't know. I'm trying to not use bad language to not get flagged or anything. And basically, and I just remember this one shot in that movie. Sorry, for some reason the little guy just got frightened. Yeah, there's this one shot where her like stepbrother rapes her, loses his junk, and it's basically like what they show is like a piece of kielbasa that's been cut to look like a penis, and it's got a Prince Albert, and the dog runs over and eats it. Like, this is not real. Like, I don't know if this is what horror is for most people. To me, this was more like sick horror comedy, like, because it was lots of people were lots of women in the theater were laughing, and I think I was laughing because I wasn't connected to it. It's about 10 years old, so that's probably why you is about 10 years old, and I don't remember many people having heard of it, so that's probably why. Anyway, trying to think. There was a couple of horror movies. Oh, I saw the first Hostel, and that was pretty gross too. And that one, there's a few that like just kind of like they were never like they were usually like turning my stomach more than scary. So that's why like those movies all kind of came in a wave, and that was when I don't remember seeing much horror after that. I will say the movie that scared me the most as a kid was my parents. Like I said, they wouldn't let me watch horror movies, but they let me watch The General's Daughter with John Travolta, which I'm not sure how much you guys are aware of it, but that movie is about. So when that movie came out, I want to say I was like 13, and we watched The General's Daughter, and so he plays like a military police investigator kind of person, something like that. And they're investigating did I just disconnect? Or did the chat just scroll out? Oh, okay. So he's John Travolta's investigating a murder, and you quickly find out that it's a rape and like a gang rape and murder, and they show it. And I was like 13, and I think my parents were like, "Oh, it's a military procedural. They might say the F word a couple times, or there's going to be like one real gross like violent shot from war or something." And we watched this woman get like gang raped in the battlefield by like 3 or 4 people. That's the only movie that really like kept me awake that I remember that kept me awake for a few nights. Okay, you guys are having a side conversation. Trick or Treat. I haven't seen Trick or Treat, so I don't know. I need to see a bunch. And actually, so if you, I don't know if I know Paul, you listen a little bit, but our podcast, so my wife and I do a podcast. That's one of the few things that we've got going right now with Chocolate Diamond. And the podcast is watching Best Picture winners. And when we get to the most recent, we haven't decided what we want to do yet. And now she doesn't have much interest in horror. So maybe it'll be something that like you and I can do on your podcast, Paul. But that could be something. We've talked about like maybe an AFI list. We haven't figured out yet. We have probably another year before we are even close to the end. But yeah, I should have you suggest a few movies, and then I can watch them, and then we can do a podcast about that. And you can call it the education of Mike in horror. All right. So I think I've exhausted my horror knowledge, so that is all I've got for you. Also, I do want to say that my parents always used to make fun of me for the way that I say horror, so I'm like very like self-conscious about it because I say it correctly, and they're both from Massachusetts, and so I would be like, "Oh, my friends are going to see that new horror movie," and my parents always said that it sounded like I was saying "whore movie," and they would say, "No, it's pronounced hara." So when I say horror, I can hear how I'm, making it run together, and I can hear both of their voices going hara in my head. So I'm gonna live with that forever, probably. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about? Because I don't have anything else left about horror movies. Like I just don't. It is probably the biggest gap. That and specifically B movies are the biggest gap in my entertainment knowledge. Oh crap. See, I'm delaying so that you guys can tell me what you want to talk about. By the way, I just realized that is up in the back. I got that from some coworkers when we got married, and that is like one of the coolest things that we've been given on from Etsy. Sorry, Essie is one of my son's favorite YouTubers. That's from Etsy. I just think it's really cool because my wife's maiden name is Cox, and you can't see it from here, but that's Cole. And I think the head is Michael and Sarah. I'm just realizing how I made the bed and everything because it was a huge mess. Trying to make this look nice for you guys. I watched the first 2 seasons of Daredevil. I watched the first season of Jessica Jones, first season of Luke Cage, first season of Iron Fist, and the Defenders, and then I fell off. The last year, between everything that's been going on, I just haven't had time, and the shows are a little too violent to watch with my son, and so I basically just had to let them fall by the wayside. I even haven't kept up. Oh, hi, Katie. I don't know when you logged in. I haven't looked over that screen in a few minutes. I basically kept up. Well, I liked the Defenders. Okay. I'm glad it was shorter. But it wasn't great. I think that my favorite, I really liked Luke Cage. I think that was really good. But I think that my big problem with Luke Cage is that they split it. I liked I'm losing track. Is it Copperhead that was the first bad guy? I know they're both snakes, but I liked the one that won the Oscar, whose name I'm totally spacing on, but yeah, Copperhead was an awesome bad guy. And then and I get that story-wise, it made sense what they were doing, but, like, you're used to a big bad. You're used Mahershala Ali. Yeah, he was amazing, and he was amazing. He's been amazing in everything I've seen him in. But he was such a good bad guy, and then Diamondback did suck. He was terrible, but not only that, but like you kind of want to watch the big fight be the one that they built up the whole time. Not let's build up someone for half a season, kill them, and then build up someone else for the second half of the season. And I think that is the biggest problem with Luke Cage season one. I'm glad you're saying season two is better. I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to it because I can't watch anything with like hand to hand violence at all because my son will just like try to punch me in the face if we're watching it, and I don't have any free time where he's not awake and with me to watch TV anymore. So I think that will be a 5 years from now show or something. We watched like 30 seconds of the new season of Orange is the New Black, and I got punched in the face, and we have not watched anything violent since. I feel like I've been neglecting the Facebook guys, but I don't even know if anybody's still on. Anyway, I'm going to be doing one of these once a month, so I'll announce again. I think I have it scheduled on Facebook. So I'm going to be doing one of these once a month, and I'm going to hopefully come up with topics like I did. I wanted to talk about the movie this month. I'll probably run next month's the same way with a big update as to where we are with the movie. The Dragon Prince. I did hear the Dragon Prince. Sorry, there's something weird that goes on every time it like loads a big comment. The whole comment screen goes away. I'm going to be finishing up in a second, so thank you for watching the Brant. And like I said, I'm going to be doing this next month. I'm glad you're watching, and thank you for subscribing. Next month, let me look at what date I got down. I know on Facebook I've already announced it. I think it's the 22nd. I'm probably just so you know, like I'm going to be wrapping up in a minute here, Paul, just because I can smell dinner cooking and it's like ready, and so I'm hungry, and now we're almost 45 minutes deep on this, so I'm really I didn't know what to expect with a live stream. This has been awesome. So I really didn't know. I know a lot of people are doing gaming live streams, and I just don't know what to do. Like I don't play any video games right now because I have an addiction problem with them. My wife makes fun of me because I will, like, if I play like Bejeweled, I will be addicted to it. So she's like, it's not even good games, it's lame games. And I don't think a Bejeweled live stream would do very well. But so I didn't know what to expect, and I'm really like glad we got you guys turning out and interacting because I didn't know. But I can see myself live on my phone, which is really weird to have 3 screens in front of me going live. Where the hell is the? Okay, it's not going to show me the whole page because of. Anyway, we're going to announce it. It's like the 21st or October 22nd at 7 p.m. We'll do our next live stream, and I'll hopefully have a decent update about the movie. I think this update was great. I'm really glad that we had such a good. We've had such good luck so far and such good support, and I'm really glad and I appreciate everything that everyone's been doing to help us out. And hopefully next month we'll have some progress as far as actual production. I'm hoping to, in a month from now, to actually maybe have shot the first day. I kind of think that might be a little bit pushing it as far as scheduling, but hopefully. And I think that's it. So I will talk to you guys later. One last thing. We will have our new short, which is going to be called A Map of My Brain, and that will be up on Sunday. And so check that out. It's going to be a little less funny, but maybe a little more interesting, and hopefully a little more. I'm putting a little I'm putting a lot more effort into the filmmaking aspects to try to make it seem a little, have a little more production value. Uh, Thanks, Paul. I think you're the only one on still. I can't tell over here on Facebook if Katie or Sarah or Carlo or Kevin are. I don't. It says one person, but it doesn't say who. So thank you all for checking it out. If you're watching this afterwards, because I think they both go up, then I appreciate you viewing. I will be on the YouTube version. I'll be tagging a couple of videos that I think you might like based on what we talked about, and so I think that's it. Bye. This camera. It's really weird because I got this screen going, and I feel like I have to talk to Facebook, even though you're both coming out of the same camera. So anyway, bye. Yes, and